Before logic steps in, before your mind starts analyzing colors, meanings, or symbols, pause. Look at the four horses in front of you. One of them pulls you, not gently, but instinctively. That reaction is not random. According to Carl Jung's analytical psychology, the unconscious mind speaks first, through symbols, emotions, and sudden attraction. And symbols never lie. This is not a personality quiz you think your way through. This is a psychological mirror. Each horse represents a different archetypal energy buried deep within the psyche. When you feel strongly drawn to one horse, you are not choosing it. It is revealing a part of you that is already active, dominant, or longing to be expressed. So here's what I want you to do. Relax your mind. Don't overthink. Let your intuition decide. Choose the horse you feel intensely attracted to, even if you don't understand why. That single choice will uncover hidden traits, emotional patterns, and truths about who you really are beneath the surface. Once you've chosen, stay with me. The analysis may surprise you. If you were drawn to horse number 1, the white horse, this choice goes far deeper than calmness or beauty. It reveals a psyche that is fundamentally oriented toward meaning, integrity, and inner order. In Jungian psychology, the white horse symbolizes consciousness, moral awareness, and the striving toward the self, the integrated, authentic core of who you are. You are someone who feels an almost instinctive need to live correctly, not in the sense of pleasing society, but in remaining aligned with your inner truth. You are highly introspective, often observing yourself as much as you observe the world. This makes you thoughtful, wise beyond your years, and capable of deep self-reflection. But it also places a heavy burden on you. You rarely allow yourself to be careless, impulsive, or emotionally messy. You hold yourself to a standard that is often higher than what you expect from others. At your core, you fear inner corruption more than external failure. You would rather lose status, money, or approval than betray your values. In relationships, this manifests as loyalty, depth, and sincerity. You do not love lightly. When you commit emotionally, you do so with the intention of building something real and enduring. You are not drawn to drama or emotional games. You crave honesty, emotional intelligence, and mutual respect. However, this also means you may struggle to feel truly understood. You often sense that others see your calm surface, but fail to recognize the emotional depth and constant inner tension beneath it. Emotionally, you are sensitive yet controlled. You feel things deeply, sometimes painfully, but you have trained yourself to regulate those emotions rather than be ruled by them. This gives you strength, resilience, and composure in crises, but it can also lead to emotional isolation. You may suppress anger, sadness, or desire because you believe you must remain above such emotions, when in truth, they are part of your humanity. Your mindset is structured, purposeful, and future-oriented. You believe life has an underlying order, and you are constantly trying to align yourself with it. You are drawn to self-improvement, philosophy, psychology, or spirituality, not as trends, but as tools for inner refinement. In work and career, you excel in roles that require responsibility, ethics, and long-term vision. You may naturally become a guide, mentor, or moral anchor for others, even if you never asked for that role. People trust you, rely on you, and often project their expectations onto you. One of your greatest strengths is self-discipline. You can endure discomfort, delay gratification, and remain consistent when others give up. You are capable of profound inner growth because you are willing to face yourself honestly. Yet your greatest weakness lies in perfectionism and self-judgment. You are often harder on yourself than anyone else could ever be. You replay mistakes, question your intentions, and silently ask whether you are living up to who you should be. Jung would say your shadow, the hidden, repressed side of your psyche, contains spontaneity, desire, instinct, and emotional chaos. You may unconsciously fear losing control, being seen as flawed, or surrendering to passion, even though a part of your soul longs for exactly that freedom. The white horse chooses those who are walking the path of individuation, the slow, lifelong journey of becoming whole. Your challenge is not to become pure or perfect, but to integrate your light with your shadow, your discipline with your desire, your conscience with compassion for yourself. When you learn to forgive your own humanity, you don't lose your strength. You finally unlock it. If you were drawn to horse number 2, the golden sunlit horse, this choice reveals a personality fueled by vitality, ambition, and an insatiable drive to experience life fully. From a Jungian perspective, this horse represents the energy of the ego in motion, the part of the psyche that thrives on engagement, forward momentum, and the pursuit of meaning through action. You are not someone who drifts passively through life or allows circumstances to define you. Instead, you are instinctively drawn to challenge, growth, and opportunity. You radiate warmth and energy, and people notice you not because you demand attention, but because your very presence is alive, vibrant, and magnetic. You are emotionally expressive, passionate, and rarely neutral about anything. Joy, curiosity, desire, and even frustration all flow through you intensely, giving your life a richness and fullness that others often envy. At the same time, this intensity can make you highly sensitive to emotional climates. You feel deeply when others are joyful or in pain, and you may carry the emotional weight of those around you without even realizing it. In relationships, this translates to a profound desire for authenticity, intimacy, and emotional resonance. You do not settle for shallow connections or polite pleasantries. You crave relationships that feel alive, that challenge you, inspire you, and allow you to be fully known. When you love with passion, generosity, and vulnerability. Yet part of you longs to be recognized, valued, and emotionally mirrored in return. You can be extraordinarily giving, sometimes to your own detriment, because your nature is to share energy and to engage fully with the lives of others. This generosity, however, is not always returned, and it can leave you feeling exhausted, unappreciated, or misunderstood. One of your key inner conflicts arises from the tension between independence and the need for validation. You crave freedom, authenticity, and self-determination, yet you also desire acknowledgement, recognition, and emotional intimacy. Navigating this tension is a lifelong process, and it shapes many of your choices in love, friendship, and even professional life. Emotionally, you are highly intuitive and empathetic. You notice subtleties in mood, tone, and body language that others might miss, giving you a natural ability to respond appropriately and thoughtfully. Yet this sensitivity also makes you vulnerable to overstimulation, emotional fatigue, and frustration when the world fails to meet your expectations. Your energy is not only emotional, but also mental and creative. Your mind thrives on novelty, exploration, and problem-solving that requires both imagination and courage. You are drawn to projects, ideas, and careers that allow you to express your full potential, to leave a mark, or to influence others positively. Routine without meaning or stagnation can feel suffocating. You need movement, purpose, and a sense of progress to feel alive. In work and ambition, you are both a motivator and a visionary. People naturally look to you for inspiration, guidance, and energy because you bring momentum wherever you go. You can ignite enthusiasm in others, lead by example, and turn abstract ideas into tangible outcomes. Yet your intensity can also be your shadow, if not balanced. Jung would say that your shadow contains impatience, impulsivity, and fear of being insignificant. You may push too hard, burn too brightly, or overextend yourself to prove your worth or to maintain the pace of life that feels natural to you. Deep down, there is a fear that life might pass without you fully expressing yourself, without leaving a trace, or without being truly seen. You may unconsciously avoid stillness, reflection, or inactivity because quiet forces you to confront unmet emotional needs, unresolved conflicts, or the gap between who you are and who you want to become. Your journey is about learning to balance action with reflection, intensity with patience, and self-expression with self-care. Spiritually and psychologically, you are called to embrace both your radiant energy and your hidden sensitivities, recognizing that your strength lies not only in your outward vitality, but also in the depth of your emotional and inner life. When you learn to temper your fiery drive with mindfulness and self-compassion, you unlock the full potential of the Golden Horse, a personality that is not only powerful, inspiring, and magnetic, but also resilient, wise, and profoundly attuned to the rhythms of life. This horse chooses those who are willing to live fully, embrace their passions, and confront their fears of inadequacy, turning energy and desire into purposeful action and experience into wisdom. Your life path is not about avoiding intensity or masking vulnerability. It is about integrating all aspects of yourself, ambition and sensitivity, independence and intimacy, drive and reflection, so that your presence in the world becomes a force of creation, connection, and authentic expression. The Golden Horse reflects a psyche that is alive to both opportunity and risk, a soul that thrives when fully engaged, and a heart that yearns to be felt, understood, and remembered. To follow this path is to embrace the fullness of life with courage, generosity, and unwavering vitality, transforming both your own existence and the lives of those fortunate enough to move alongside you. If you are drawn to horse number 3, the gray horse, this choice reveals a personality defined by balance, introspection, and profound psychological maturity. In Jungian psychology, gray represents integration, neutrality, and the meeting point between opposites, light and dark, conscious and unconscious, logic and emotion, stability and flexibility. You are someone who naturally lives in the in-between, navigating life with nuance, subtlety, and an understanding that very few things are purely black or white. This gives you a depth of perception and empathy that is rare, allowing you to see multiple perspectives simultaneously and to understand people and situations on a level that often escapes others. From the outside, you may appear calm, reserved, or even detached, but within you exists a rich inner world full of reflection, subtle emotion, and quiet insight. You are highly self-aware, constantly observing your own thoughts, reactions, and emotional patterns, seeking to understand not just the what of life, but the why behind it. This makes you a natural problem solver, mediator, and advisor. People may come to you for guidance without even realizing why, drawn to your steady presence and the clarity with which you navigate complexity. In relationships, you value depth, authenticity, and emotional reliability. You are cautious in opening your heart, but once you do, you bring a level of loyalty, commitment, and emotional intelligence that is both rare and transformative. You tend to hold space for others' emotions, offering understanding and support without judgment, yet this can also become a burden if you absorb more than you can handle or neglect your own emotional needs. You may struggle with expressing vulnerability directly, believing that composure and balance are safer than revealing the full spectrum of your feelings. But this restraint also allows you to approach conflict with clarity, thoughtfulness, and fairness. Emotionally, you are steady and reflective. You feel deeply, but you process feelings internally before expressing them, which gives you resilience and control, yet may sometimes lead to misunderstandings or the perception of distance. You are aware of your inner life in a way that others may not be, and this insight allows you to navigate challenges with sophistication and foresight. Your mindset is analytical yet intuitive, practical yet open to subtle possibilities. You are not swayed by trends, hype, or superficial appearances. You seek knowledge, understanding, and experiences that are meaningful and enduring. In work, creativity, and ambition, you thrive in environments where careful thought, responsibility, and insight are valued. You are adaptable and capable of balancing multiple demands, and you excel at making informed, measured decisions that benefit not just yourself, but those around you. Yet your strengths are mirrored by shadow aspects that require conscious attention. Jung would say your shadow includes self-doubt, overcautiousness, and the tendency to defer your own desires for the sake of harmony or perceived duty. You may suppress ambition, passion, or spontaneity because you fear disrupting the balance you have cultivated or appearing vulnerable. You may also avoid situations that feel emotionally risky, missing opportunities for growth and connection. One of your deepest lessons is to recognize that integration does not mean suppression, that embracing both light and shadow, action and reflection, desire and restraint, is the path to true individuation. Spiritually, you are drawn to understanding life as a complex, interconnected system, and you are often fascinated by the cycles of human experience, the interplay of internal and external forces, and the subtle ways that personality, circumstance, and unconscious patterns shape behavior. You are reflective, thoughtful, and often introspective, using your observations not only to guide yourself, but to help others see patterns they might otherwise miss. Your inner conflict lies in balancing observation with action, reflection with engagement, and neutrality with emotional expression. You may be tempted to remain in the gray indefinitely, avoiding risk, discomfort, or passionate involvement. But your soul craves full engagement with life, including its unpredictability, intensity, and messiness. The gray horse calls to those who are ready to integrate complexity into wisdom, to embrace both the analytical and emotional dimensions of life, and to recognize that true power lies not in extremes, but in the ability to navigate all shades of experience with awareness, compassion, and clarity. Your journey is about learning that balance and depth do not require invisibility or detachment, but rather conscious engagement with every layer of your inner and outer world. When you honor your capacity to feel, observe, and act in harmony, you unlock a rare form of strength, one that is subtle, resilient, and profoundly transformative. The gray horse reminds you that life is rarely simple, and growth is rarely linear. But your ability to navigate ambiguity, remain composed under pressure, and perceive underlying truths gives you a clarity and wisdom that can guide not only your own journey, but the lives of those fortunate enough to cross your path. Your calling is to live consciously, to integrate light and shadow, to honor both your inner world and outer responsibilities, and to recognize that depth, subtlety, and insight are gifts that, when fully embraced, allow you to leave a legacy of quiet strength, understanding, and profound human connection. If you were drawn to horse number 4, the dark brown horse, this choice speaks to a personality rooted in depth, resilience, and a profound connection to the tangible realities of life. From a Jungian perspective, this horse represents the primal, instinctive aspects of the psyche, the enduring core that has been shaped by challenge, experience, and the relentless demands of reality. You are someone whose life is lived with your feet firmly on the ground, someone who understands that meaning is not found in superficial pleasures or fleeting ideals, but in the steady, persistent cultivation of character, competence, and endurance. Your personality is defined by a quiet strength that others may underestimate at first glance. You do not need to announce your presence. Your stability, reliability, and grounded energy naturally attract people who seek security, loyalty, and emotional consistency. You are deeply observant, often noticing subtleties that others miss, from shifts in tone to unspoken emotional undercurrents. Yet you filter these observations through pragmatism rather than over-analysis. In relationships, you bring a profound sense of loyalty, responsibility, and protection. You do not give your heart lightly, and when you do, it is with total commitment, often expressed through action rather than words. You create safety and reliability for those you care about, and others come to you for guidance, support, and grounded perspective. At the same time, your emotional world is complex and quietly intense. You feel deeply, but you are conditioned to process feelings internally, often in solitude. This emotional containment is a strength, allowing you to remain composed in crisis, yet it can become a burden when you suppress vulnerability, grief, or longing for too long. You have an inner life rich with reflection, memory, and insight, but it is largely invisible to the outside world, which sometimes leaves you feeling isolated or misunderstood. Your mindset is shaped by experience, pragmatism, and the recognition that life is rarely simple or fair. You trust what is tangible and proven, often skeptical of idealistic promises or shortcuts. This realism allows you to navigate challenges with skill, endurance, and patience, but it can also make you cautious, hesitant to embrace uncertainty, or reluctant to take emotional or professional risks. In work, career, and personal ambitions, you thrive in roles where reliability, diligence, and practical intelligence are valued. You are a builder, a stabilizer, someone who can carry responsibility and meet obligations with unwavering consistency. Others may admire your perseverance, but may not always recognize the emotional and physical effort it takes for you to maintain that stability. One of your greatest strengths lies in your resilience. You endure hardships that would overwhelm many, and you recover from setbacks with quiet determination. You have the capacity to face adversity head-on, to remain steadfast when others falter, and to create order from chaos. Yet, this resilience carries shadow elements that Jung would identify as parts of the psyche that are underdeveloped or repressed. Within you may lie unexpressed anger, suppressed grief, a longing for recognition, and the deep desire to be nurtured, rather than only being the nurturer. Your life lessons revolve around learning to honor your own needs as fully as you honor the needs of others, to recognize that vulnerability is not weakness, and that softness does not diminish your strength. You may carry burdens silently, believing that endurance alone is the measure of value, but Jung would say your shadow calls you to integrate the parts of yourself you keep hidden. The playful, passionate, spontaneous, and emotionally expressive self that has often been denied in the service of duty and stability. Emotionally, this integration requires courage, the courage to ask for support, to acknowledge desire, and to express the depths of your heart without fear of judgment. Psychologically, the dark brown horse teaches you the profound lesson of balance between strength and surrender. Your power lies not only in your ability to endure, but in your willingness to soften, to connect, and to allow life to move through you rather than simply through your control. Spiritually and philosophically, you are drawn to the tangible wisdom of lived experience, to traditions, practices, and knowledge that ground you in reality while also connecting you to something larger than yourself. You are patient, thoughtful, and deeply aware of the cyclical nature of life. You understand that growth is slow, setbacks are inevitable, and that transformation often comes through effort, reflection, and endurance. Your inner conflicts arise from the tension between duty and desire, endurance and emotional expression, independence and the longing for connection. You may find yourself overextending to support others while neglecting your own emotional and physical well-being. You may fear that allowing yourself to rest, to feel, or to ask for help will reveal weakness. Yet, Jung would say that embracing this vulnerability is essential for true integration and fulfillment. The dark brown horse chooses those who are called to cultivate wisdom through experience, resilience through challenge, and depth through integration. Your journey is not about avoiding hardship, but about facing it with grace, not about denying emotions, but about allowing them to inform your choices, and not about simply surviving, but about transforming survival into a profound sense of peace, mastery, and authenticity. Those drawn to this horse are often quiet anchors in a chaotic world, capable of tremendous insight, loyalty, and strength. But their ultimate growth comes when they learn to honor themselves fully, soften without losing power, and embrace life with both courage and tenderness. When you achieve this integration, your presence becomes magnetic, your wisdom undeniable, and your life not just endured, but fully, deeply lived. Now that you've explored which horse called to you first and discovered the hidden aspects of your personality, take a moment to reflect. This simple choice has revealed more than you might have expected. It has offered a window into your deepest instincts, desires, strengths, and challenges. Remember, there is no right or wrong horse. Each one represents a part of the human psyche that is waiting to be understood, integrated, and embraced. Whether you resonated with the calm wisdom of the white horse, the fiery vitality of the golden horse, the balanced insight of the gray horse, or the grounded resilience of the dark brown horse, your journey is about self-discovery and growth. Use this insight as a guide, not as a label, to better understand your emotions, your relationships, and your purpose in life. Allow yourself to explore, accept, and nurture the part of you that surfaced, and watch how this awareness transforms the way you see yourself and the world around you.